Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. Nutmeg is right here. He's purring and being so cute to help me today because I bought an orchid a while back. I have it right here in the clearance section at Lowe's. Watch out, buddy. And I said I wanted to rehab it, and I've been keeping it alive. I've been watering it and whatnot, but I really wanted to try and do my best with an orchid. I've only ever owned one orchid before, and this is the second. And the other one I got was a rehab as well. I still have yet to repot it. I've had it for a year and a half, but I want to do better with this one. The first one I did get to flower though, which was really cool. I felt really accomplished because I know some people struggle with getting orchids to flower. So this one I want to do better. There goes Nutmeg. I don't know what color the flowers are gonna be on it. It didn't really have a tag or anything, so this will just be a surprise. I bought a bunch of supplies for this plant so that I can repot it, get it in a better place, better situation. There's no drainage, there's no there's no clear pot, there's nothing. Like this poor plant. So I want to do better by this plant. I bought a few things my last few trips to Lowe's. I got some clear pots on Amazon. I did get this orchid pot. I'm assuming like that's what you put orchids in. I don't know if it's gonna quite line up with the clear pots I got, but I'm gonna try. If it looks a little weird, it's fine. And then I also got these. I use them for my Hoyas, but I mean, they're for orchids. So I have these, and I also have orchid mist, which is the same stuff as this, but it's not as slow release. So I feel like I've prepared myself pretty well. I do have some chunky perlite, I've got some chunky mix, I've got some moss that I've wet already, though I don't think I need any more moss, honestly. But just in case I do, I feel like I've got all the bases covered, and I'm gonna try to make this a series. So I'll do an update on how this is doing, maybe in a month or two. I don't know how dramatically orchids change because the one I have doesn't do much. I mean, it's still in a super tiny pot, so that could be why. But it did grow a leaf recently, so that is really cool because it really hasn't done much since I've gotten it other than flower and grow a leaf. But we're gonna learn together, I guess, how to care for an orchid. I wasn't sure when I bought it if this was like part of the orchid, but I think it's just a stick. This shows how much I know about orchids. So this is the part that flowers, this stem right here. I do think it flowered at one point. So it was flowering probably when they got it at Lowe's, and then it stopped flowering. In my experience with the other orchid I had, these can die off and then grow back when it's gonna flower again. So I don't know what it's gonna do because it does have an active growth point here. So maybe it'll flower, maybe it'll die off. We'll see. I really don't know much about orchids and I haven't researched too much about them. This is purely what I've seen through walking down the houseplant aisle at Lowe's or just randomly seen on the internet. So I feel like it's kind of cool going into something blind. Like, we're gonna learn together. If you guys have any tips about growing orchids, feel free to let me know in the comments. I just wanna see how this goes. This is just a little fun project for me, and I think it'll be cool. I think orchids are beautiful. They're really great plants. The different kinds of blooms that they can have are so stunning. So I just wanna see how it goes, honestly. Like, that's it for me. And we're gonna do it together. So I got out one of these orchid pots. I know they like to have the slits all throughout the pot, and it does fit somewhat well in here. Like, that's not terrible. I don't know if you're supposed to have like slits on the outer pot and in the inner pot. I truly don't know, but I have seen like in a lot of greenhouses too. I've been to quite a few greenhouses in my time collecting plants. They've got orchids with just roots growing everywhere. So maybe they could just grow out of the pot here. I think it's gonna look cool regardless. Yes, I don't have the highest humidity, so it's gonna be a little bit of work to get this plant to a point where it would have roots growing out everywhere, but we're just gonna go with what I think. All right, buddy. With what I think would work based off of what I've seen on the internet before. So I think I'm just gonna fill up this pot. I guess see how much really I need to, because this plant is so full already. Okay, yeah. So it's a similar width. This is just deeper, which is okay. And then this pot, I just want to use as a decorative pot for one of my Hoyas or philodendrons, honestly. So that's why I got this originally, was for the pot, but I was like, you know what? Let's try to save an orchid. A lot of these just end up dying anyway, and I got it for half off. I got all this for $10. So if the plant dies, not the end of the world. I would like it to not die. That is my goal, obviously, but things happen. Just kind of part of growing plants, honestly. So I would like to try and get some of this moss off. I'm just gonna throw it. I'm getting moss everywhere. I'm just gonna throw it in the old pot because it's very dry. It's nice moss. I really enjoy the moss that it's in, but it is pretty dry. So we'll have to rehydrate that later and see what I can do with it. Where are the roots in this plant? I kind of feel bad. There's like not that many roots. Oh, I think I found some dead roots. Oh, here we go. Here's the roots. So it's grown some roots recently, but there's also a bunch of dead roots in here too. I'm just gonna get rid of that. I have a trash bag somewhere down here. Okay, so we have a mix of healthy and dead roots, probably because this poor plant was in a pot with absolutely no drainage. And then they up potted it pretty far. You can tell that it was in a smaller pot originally because I was able to peel the moss off in a way that says like this was in a smaller pot, and it clearly was growing roots out of the bottom of that pot. So they did up pot it. I mean, it wasn't a terribly big up pot, but with the fact that a lot of the roots died, it'll be okay. I think we'll be okay here. I'm gonna put some moss back at the bottom. I have an extremely dirty workspace now, but that's fine. That's what vacuums are for. Also, is there anything that you would recommend to use to decorate this orchid? Because I feel like this twig is just for decoration and like it's fine. But if there's something cooler, I am down to really spice up this plant and make it cooler. So I can do that. So there's that. I think I'm gonna get out some chunky mix and some chunky perlite to throw in there as well. I know a lot of people say to not mix chunky mix with moss. I have absolutely no problem doing it. I do it all the time, to be honest with you. I think it's fine. If you're not mixing straight up soil with moss, I don't do that. But the chunky elements like the orchid bark, perlite, some charcoal, leca, I've been doing it for years and I haven't really had a problem with it. But I think at the end of the day, it's just what works best for you and your style of plant care. This works for me. Doing moss-based mix, especially for some of my smaller plants, and then as they get bigger, or like most of my big monsteras are in chunky mix because they can tolerate longer times without watering, longer periods of time, and that's just how it works for me. They're really big plants now anyway. They're in like 8 to 10 inch pots, so they're quite big. I'm just gonna put in some fresh moss that's a little bit more damp versus the old moss around here, just because I can. I feel like I need a bamboo stick to shove some of this down here. But yeah, I think honestly, there's no one size fits all plant care. As long as it works with your style, there are plants that will work. For the style and the climate that I have right now, doesn't work with anthurium, but it works for a lot of my other plants. So I think just do what you like to do and don't be influenced 100% by what somebody is doing with their plants. A lot of people grow exclusively in pond. A lot of people use fluval, tree fern, so many different ways to grow the same plants. And plants are very resilient, very adaptable. I mean, we see plants growing up trees and in crevices on the sidewalk. So it'll work eventually. Might take some trial and error, but sometimes it's not even really the medium. It's just, you got to figure it out first. So here we can see some of the roots on the edge, and I think this looks a lot better. Personally, it's got chunkiness to it. And let me get the fertilizer spike. These are just so nice because they last for at least 2 months. It says 2 months, but I've had them last longer before. And for my smaller Hoyas, I actually just break these in half. That way I get more use out of them for multiple plants because they are small. There's only 10 of them, and I think this is about $4 or $5. So it's not the most economical way to fertilize your plants, but I just try to get the most out of it by breaking them in half usually. Because this is in a bigger pot, I'm just gonna use a whole one. And this is what it's for. It's literally orchid food. So I just put that in the side. I don't like to put it like super directly next to the plant, and I don't like to put it at the bottom because you want everything to flow down with the roots. So that's how I do it there. Got so much of a mess here. So all that's left for this, guys, just put them in the pot. I do think I'm going to keep this in my living area. I want this to be on my coffee table, so I'm not sure if it's gonna live in the plant room. It could move because I already have an orchid out there, but for now, I think I'm gonna put it on my coffee table. I think it looks so much better already. It got such an upgrade. I do need to give it a good drink because it was pretty dry in that moss. Probably been a week or two since I watered it, so a little bit on the drier side, but it looks so good. I love this little pattern on the pot. I think it's adorable, and hopefully we will rehab it and I'll be able to get it to flower for me. That's always such a rewarding feeling when you get any plant to flower for you, especially a house plant. So I've heard orchids can be difficult, but I didn't have too hard of a time rehabbing the first one. We're gonna try it with a bigger orchid this time, but we'll see how it goes. Again, leave me any tips that you have down below. I am happy to follow your advice if you've grown orchids before. I love them. I think they're great, and hopefully I have this one for quite a while. While I've got you here, I'd also like to do one more repot. I've been saying that I've been meaning to repot my Hoya numerarioides for a year now, and I think I should just bite the bullet and do it. I really wish I could just transfer the smell of these blooms over the screen to you guys, because this is one of my favorite smelling Hoyas ever. It's just perfection. It is so sweet, little bit of a like fall spice to it, and it blooms consistently for 2 months straight. I cannot say enough amazing things about this plant, but I don't like growing in clear pots like this anymore without like a solid opaque pot over it. So yeah, it's time to move it. I am gonna put it in a shorter pot situation. I'm hoping that'll work. I think I can make it work, honestly, but I wanted to wait till this was done blooming, but I just feel like I have hindered upon this plant enough. It deserves better from me, especially for being such a wonderful plant, but this is gross. So I'm gonna try to get this all untangled here. Oh, it just feels gross with all the algae. So I'm probably just gonna throw all of this out, refresh. There is at least a lot of roots. I don't know how, but this plant is so root bound. There's old fertilizer in here. There's everything. My goodness. Yeah, this is all gonna get thrown in the trash. We are gonna start over. Might break a few roots here and there, but I think it'll be fine. There's clearly plenty to spare. So we'll just get all of this leca out. It was like half of this pot was leca. Just fine. I don't know what I was doing. I did this probably 2 years ago. So that much alone was just leca. And I do have to hold this together because it does want to come apart. So I have to hold it by the moss, otherwise it's just going to be all over the place. There's dead leaves in here. What is going on? It's a giant chunk of something. Oh, there's another giant chunk here. All right, now that I've got about half a cup of debris, honestly. I'm going to see how this fits. Okay. It fits pretty well, actually. I just need to fill it up a little bit more. I'm gonna add some chunky perlite. The chunkier, the better when it comes to perlite, honestly. I don't even know why people sell fine perlite, because the chunky stuff is so nice. So fun to work with. I'm just gonna push the existing moss down a bit. It's very loose. I was not expecting it to be so loose for such an established plant, but it just goes to show this plant really needed the TLC that I'm finally giving it. And I'll add more moss. Pre-soaked, of course. Trying to be careful not to break any of these blooms. Might top it with a little bit of perlite as well. All right, I'm gonna put the tag back in and some fertilizer. I'm gonna use a whole stick for this because it is a little bit bigger. Get that right in there. That's our repot into a 4-inch pot. Nothing too crazy, but I think the plant will do better now that it'll have some semblance of drainage. Hopefully, we'll actually get some growth out of it in the coming year, but for now, I will enjoy all of the wonderful blooms this season. Nutmeg left, probably to go play with saffron, but I've got Luna here to wish you all a great week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you like this video, make sure to give Luna and I a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.